Welcome back, Truth Seeker. Saturday, May 8th, 2021. Lots of things going on in the news. Shooting in Baltimore, cyber attack on a major pipeline that transports fuel from the Gulf Coast to the Northeast. A story of identical twins who had the exact opposite reaction to COVID. Celebrity from the 1980s, another celebrity who got their big start in 1984, Tawny Kitaen, is dead at the relatively young age of 59. We'll talk more about that. Most stories bring up her connection to Tom Hanks in the movie Bachelor Party. Also, NASA is funding on a small scale right now a project to put a lunar telescope on the dark side of the moon. This is in the headlines. One of CNN's top stories, May 8th. Talked a lot about NASA in 58, the agency that was established in 58. So a big NASA story on 5/8 from CNN. And if you haven't heard, Elon Musk, the billionaire who has a lot of time for social media and running companies and space programs and electronic cars and Bitcoin decodes, research. He's even got time for Saturday Night Live tonight. We're going to talk about that. The Ritual. JY, possibly our highest IQ member of the Gematria community. He doesn't call in so much, but some people know JY's voice. But he was doing some more research on crypto, and he found Cardano, which is made by a man who's related to Ethereum. But he launched Cardano on September 27th, the big old day for the Jesuits in history that they're recognized by Rome. And then his birthday is November 5th, Guy Fawkes Day, another big Jesuit date. The day leaving 56 days left in the year, and Cardano's 56. Just like how Bitcoin got back up to 56K on May 6th, 5-6. Big number with the Jesuits. And we've seen that the Jesuit fingerprints are all over every crypto we've looked at. From Bitcoin to XRP, to Ethereum, to Dogecoin, and here Cardano. And again, the Jesuits have the Templar cross in their logo, and the Templars were the original bankers. So it makes sense that, these Catholic-related institutions would be involved in the currency, and the currency of the future, crypto, especially when you look at the U.S. dollar bill that has Latin, the language of Rome, right on it. So, good find by JY. In the news today, a blast near a girls' school in Kabul, Afghanistan. This comes right after Biden says he's pulling all the troops out by September 11th. And it comes one day after a clash at Al-Aqsa Mosque. Remember, the police fired tear gas on Muslim worshippers at Al-Aqsa Mosque August 11th, 2019. That was a very big deal because Al-Aqsa Mosque is one of the most holy sites in the world to Muslims and pretty much anyone in the Abrahamic religions. But now at Al-Aqsa Mosque on May 7th, many people injured. Headlines said more than 200. If you read the articles, they said 205, which is a number we've talked about a fair number of times before with Israel, because in Jewish Gematria, Israel's 205. Phrases like all seeing I have the 205. But it's funny how Israel's building up the big databases right now. All these supercomputers with all this surveillance, all over the world, all this information being stored. These supercomputers with this AI technology that can go through all this information, connect dots, put things together. Fits in with that all-seeing eye thing. All-seeing eye 205, Israel 205. But that was last night, and then today in Kabul, Afghanistan, this. And it just reminds how after September 11th, you had Ehud Barak, the leader of Israel at the time, go on TV and say the United States needed to declare a war on terrorism on Afghanistan and Iraq, and that's exactly what we did. And that plan of action was first laid out by the leader of Israel at the time. Also in the news, Barack Obama's dog is dead at age 12, and They got Bo right after they took the White House in 2009, so it was 12 years and some months old. And there's definitely some things that are interesting about this, which we'll talk about in a minute. Also, Bill Gates last year did the mosquito week with the Grim Reaper made out of mosquitoes that we covered then. We just brought it back up recently, but the genetically modified mosquitoes that they've been hyping, they laid the eggs for them in April, and they've just hatched in the last week in Florida. And they're saying they released 144,000 mosquitoes. As you'll recall, 144,000's biblical number from Revelation. We've been talking a lot about that in light of what's coded all over the pandemic, but also 144 alone is just the number that's so big with the Jesuit order. And if you recall what we covered about Mosquito Week, when Bill Gates hyped it up again with the Grim Reaper made of mosquitoes and the scary music, the about minute-long hype video for these genetically modified mosquitoes, the Jesuit fingerprints were all over it. And 144, such an important number to the Jesuit order, who we talk about again and again, and we will talk about a lot more today. And another one of CNN's top stories today is the coming crisis due to all the shortages from food to building materials. And crisis has that gematria of 85. Today can be written 8/5. Again, kind of like how you had the twin stories today. The story of the twins also on 8/5 or 5/8. Dates written both ways. But yeah, we'll go through all these stories. Plus, we'll talk about the Wade Miley no-hitter. Again, pretty much every single time I'm talking about no-hitter, I'm talking about 46. This year, there's already been 4 no-hitters, which is more than there is in a normal baseball season. I think normally in a normal season, there might be 2 or 3. 4, and the baseball season just started. Again, just sports get sillier and sillier. Anyway. But this year, there's been 4 no-hitters, and no-hitters 46. The latest was thrown by the Reds pitcher. I'm going to just wait until you see how amazing this is. This happened in Cincinnati. And by the way, isn't it strange that Rambo yesterday did a big decode on Cincinnati, and then there ended up being a no-hitter in Cincinnati later in the same day? But synchronicity. But Reds have that 46 connection like no-hitter, and the first no-hitter of the season was thrown by the 46th draft pick, Joe Musgrove. The second no-hitter of the season was thrown by Chicago White Sox pitcher Carlos Rodon, Chicago 46. The third no-hitter of the season was thrown by John Allen Means, whose name equals 46, who was drafted in the 46th round, and who had 46 innings pitched for the entire season once he completed the no-hitter. And again, this just goes year after year of talking about the same pattern. Go back to 2016. Jake Arrieta had the first no-hitter of the year 46 days after his birthday with the Chicago Cubs, who'd go on to win the World Series. From that point forward, and even before that, we've been documenting the occurrence of no-hitter in 46. There's a lot more to this, though. And again, it'll remind you that Xavier is in Cincinnati. Ignatius of Loyola founded the Jesuits. Second in command behind him was Xavier. Again, there's 27 Jesuit universities in the nation. One of them is in Cincinnati, which is Xavier. If you go to Gonzaga, one of the Jesuit schools in Washington State, the main drag is on Cincinnati Avenue. But you know what? Forget the suspense. Just look at this, you guys. Well, first of all, the date that this happened was May 7th. The date that could be written 7/5. Wade 75. Wade Allen Miley 75. Or 5/7. It was a battle of 2 Ohio teams. It's the year of the 117th World Series. But look at this. From Wade Miley's birthday to the day he did it was 175 days, which connects with Pope Francis 175. And from Pope Francis' birthday to the no-hitter was 141 days, which connects with Wade Allen Miley. And isn't it interesting that the last 2 pitchers both have Allen for middle names? They spell it different, but they're both Allens. But again, Pope Francis is the first Jesuit pope. For years, we've been educating about how sports are synced around him, and it's clear that the Jesuits are so instrumental in the world of sports, college and pro. So many of the rituals are scripted in tribute to them. It took me, from the time that I've had that conclusion, which has been pretty much since about 2016, to 2020, when I was absolutely convinced the Jesuits run the rest of the show too. Again, it's just because the patterns and examples have continued to build, and they just keep pointing back in the same direction, you know. But yeah, this stuff is not an accident, you guys. By the way, it happened on May 7th, 5-7. Rome, of course, is 57. All roads lead to Rome. And yeah, again, just the power of this knowledge, how it allows you to see through the news and the sports and the consistent patterns. But look at this. Bryson, just days ago, put out a prediction for May 26th. You know, we circled May 26th back in February when the Daft Punk music video came out. And it was clearly a tribute to the upcoming lunar eclipse, which is on May 26th. And we saw that was 93 days after the music video they put out, and they started their group in 93, and they were retiring, and Daft Punk equals 93, and that was their retirement video, and 93 relates to the sun, and there's a lunar eclipse upcoming, which is related to the sun and the moon and the earth. And so anyway, he was thinking about what could happen on May 26th, and what he noticed is Cyber Polygon, the World Economic Forum simulation of a cyber attack, was July 8th, 2020. And he noticed that from that day, the day they simulated a cyber attack, to May 26th was 322 days later. And he said, remember, that was the pattern in the blackouts that took place in several cities across the nation on Valentine's Day, which we had circled in advance because we noticed it was 322 days after Klaus Schwab's birthday. And again, Klaus Schwab he's the Jesuit, and he's the founder of the World Economic Forum that simulated this cyber polygon. Also simulated Event 201, the coronavirus pandemic simulation of October 18th, 2019, 1 month before the outbreak in Wuhan, China. So anyway, Bryson noticed the 322 pattern with the World Economic Forum again, and he said, well, maybe that's what they'll do. Maybe they'll have some kind of big cyber attack news on May 26th. So here we are, May 7th, and it's reported that a cyber attack took down a U.S. fuel pipeline, and a major one that runs from the Gulf to the Northeast, that's been in operation since 64, which was 57 years ago. But look at this. It's the Colonial Pipeline, which equals 265, right? And that can be written 26/5, 26/5. Just like the date we're looking at. And if you run the alphabetic order the other way, Colonial Pipeline is 167, like Cyber Polygon, which was the name of the simulation of the cyber attack. Or the Cyber Polygon was the name of the cyber attack simulation. There, that's how I meant to say it. So 167's, actually here, let me show you one other thing about Cyber Polygon. Again, if you're new here, Gematria is very simple. It's based on the alphabetic order forwards and backwards with the rules numerology. So Cyber Polygon is 157 with the alphabetic order forwards. A is 1 up to Z is 26. And it's 167 when you just run the alphabetic order in reverse. Z is 1 back to A is 26. We'll talk about the 67, which is the 19th prime, in a moment. But just notice things like, United States have that 157 and 167. And, as we know, energy rules the nation. When energy prices rise, everything rises. Food costs, at the pump costs, heat and cool your home costs, and it can be very expensive. And with regards to this pipeline connecting to the date we've been looking out for, and now Bryson's prediction, and if you guys don't know who Bryson is, young man in the community, he's only 15 years old, but he's been working pretty hard at decoding and helping out the community for, I've lost track of time, several months now. Maybe 6 months. It could have been 6 months by now. But he's been working hard, and he's been contributing, and just grinding. And he's still a young person. He's still got the the academic requirements, so he's spending a lot of his spare time on this. But a very good prediction, and already right here in the same month, just look at how this all comes together. So 167 is the 39th prime number, and what happened today is the 39th day of Klaus Schwab's age. Again, Klaus Schwab is the founder of the World Economic Forum that simulated Cyber Polygon that's synced up with what's going on. Just like how they simulated Event 201, the coronavirus pandemic, October 18th, 2019, the same day the military World Games began in Wuhan, China, and again 1 month before the outbreak in Wuhan, China in November of 2019. So, what's interesting also about this is from his birthday, March 30th, to May 26th, it is 57 days after his birthday. 57 days. And here, that might be confusing because you might be adding on 19 more days and saying, that adds up to 58. It would be his 58th day of his age, true, but it would also be 57 days after his birthday. I just want you to see this so we're clear. Because again, this attack happened May 7th, 5-7, and moon equals 57. And remember, 57 is divisible by 19, and the moon's on a 19-year cycle. But let's see, May 7th, 2021 to his birthday, March 30th. Whoops, hit the wrong buttons. Oops, I meant to do May 26th. So 19 more days. So from Klaus Schwab's birthday to May 26th will be 57 days later. And again, moon in the most simple cipher is 57. It's interesting that it's also 21 like lunar because it's the year 2021. And again, a big music video at the beginning of the year from a big popular international music group paying tribute to the upcoming lunar eclipse. So again, when your eyes are open, you start to realize, okay, news, entertainment, sports, they sync up all these rituals. And when you learn how they're doing it, you see how they do it by dates in the calendar year and numbers and a code, and these numbers have big meaning. But with regards to the moon, the 19-year cycles, So May 7th is 19 days before May 26th. 19 is a big moon number because it's on a 19-year cycle. 57 years is 3 cycles of 19. And again, the big day will be 57 days after Klaus Schwab's birthday, when his Great Reset announcement was synced up with Valentine's Day. And again, with the Great Reset, with the Valentine's Day blackouts, the hardest hit city in the world was Houston, which is the oil refining capital of the world right now. It was the hardest hit city. That same week, J.J. Watt of the Houston Texans, the NFL football team, he wanted out of town. Big star player, Watt, J.J. Watt, Watt's Energy. And then he went to Phoenix, which is the solar capital, renewable energy. Klaus Schwab just called for the Great Reset on stopping this old energy technology and how we need essentially the Green New Deal, the Green Revolution, how all these things are coming together. So what could it be? Could it be, again, another big ordeal with old world technology? Again, that they have to create in our minds the reason that we need to do radical shifts right now. So if there's a huge problem with a massive oil pipeline that sends, gasoline prices spiking to $10 a gallon in New York City or something like this, then you'll see the politicians saying, this is a reminder why we got to become more, they always move us. They need the crisis, the problem, and then they say, okay, now we're going to move this direction. And it's like they build narratives for us by the numbers, by a code to move us and steer us along. And while some of it sounds great, I'm all for getting on better, cleaner energy. But with this crazy way that they go about things, again, I'll remind you guys, BP Gulf oil spill, remember what the mainstream reported, the big coincidence that Dick Cheney and Halliburton had just bought up the company 3 days before the BP oil spill that got the several $billion cleanup, grant from the government. Made all this money because Halliburton had just acquired the company days before the spill that got the cleanup contract. Just a big coincidence. Again, it's because all this stuff's planned. These people, by controlling the game, they know what to invest in. They know how to stay rich, the ruling class. That's why all the laws of the land. That's why investors don't pay money. That's why that's the best way to make your money. You start to look at it the way it is for all these shareholders and people get their dividends. You don't pay taxes on that stuff. These people are making the biggest sums of money because they have the money and they have the insider information to know what to invest in next. Here's a real story. Here's a real story that I look back on from my own life. In 2014, just before I got burglarized and lost everything and everything got stolen, I had a woman who was a customer of my medical marijuana business. And she said, Zach, we're not supposed to talk about this, but she's like, if you got some spare money, invest in this right now. It was something with Motorola and Google at the time. They were merging and they were creating like this new hard phone that charged really fast. It was something with Motorola and Google and this product to invest in. But she wasn't lying because that stock just shot way up. Like, had you invested in it, your money overnight would have been times 5 more, just days later. So, but anyway, I didn't do that, and I didn't want to get her in trouble. But anyway, it wasn't long after that everything got stolen, safe and all money. And I was just like, man, that was a real big change of fate right there. I just lost my entire business and the small fortune I had going. I could have taken her investing. I could have put it all in that investment and just been boom. But again, that's why having the difference in knowledge, like knowing what to invest in, how to stay ahead of the curve. And that's how these people control the game that control this world. They're pulling the strings. If you know what to invest in, what to pull your money out of, it's not hard to stay on top. The ruling class, there's not many people in that group, but there's enough. And it's the people who control things like our media and our politicians. So will we see maybe another story with the Colonial Pipeline or another pipeline in the country? A lot of pipeline talk since Biden came in. He signed those executive orders and he stopped the Keystone Pipeline, which shot oil prices up about $1 a gallon across the nation. And now, here in May, we're starting off with a cyber attack. And what boogeymen are they going to blame it on this time? They could blame it on the spirit of Osama and put it on the news and nobody would question it. They'd call you a conspiracy theorist if you said otherwise. But okay. May 26th, maybe Bryson's got it here. Maybe this is what they're going to do. And, that's the other thing. By the way, with regards to 167 being the 39th prime and it being on the 39th day of Klaus Schwab's age, New York equals 39, and this pipeline goes up to the northeast, New York. So, terrorize the Empire State first with the skyrocketing prices and then spread the same kind of thing across the rest of the nation, right? 9/11 New York. Then they had everybody in America living in fear, watching the same TV. It could be like in bumfuck nowhere in the middle of North Dakota. You're watching the TV thinking there could be a terrorist around any corner because you just saw it on TV. It was so real. They played that footage 3 times of the dudes on the monkey bars, taking a knee in a line, shooting AK-47s off into the desert. They still can't find the black boxes, but they got all the terrorist passports and even this exclusive footage of them on the monkey bars. By the way, in this same CNN article, they showed how September 16th, 2016, file photo shows tanker trucks lined up at a Colonial Pipeline Company facility in Pelham, Alabama, near the scene of a 250,000-gallon gasoline spill. To go back and look at that one. But I noticed Pelham, Alabama had that 265 as well. Just like the pipeline, Colonial Pipeline. So, what do you know? Oh, by the way, Colonial Pipeline Company, if I'm not mistaken, in the most pure cipher is 119. Again, all 4 of the base ciphers are important, but the one that's truly the most important is the alphabetic order with the rules numerology. And 119, September 11th. Yesterday, the big story was how steel could end up taking down the economy. And now today, the next day, it's about how fuel could take down the economy. And again, just reminds of, if you missed yesterday's video with steel and, Manhattan and how many years ago the great economic collapse was and how after 9/11 there was a mini collapse. If you missed that, again, just yesterday's steel, Manhattan, now fuel, a pipeline that runs up to New York, a company that equals 119, how the majority of the world writes the date September 11th. And remember, it was just on the 119th day of the year, April 29th, that the troop withdrawals began in Afghanistan that will end September 11th, unless they extend it again. And remember, from when Obama took office to when Osama was reported killed May 2nd, 2011, was 119 weeks. It's the start of Obama's 119th week as president of the United States. Osama's dead. Oh, yeah, and then this happened on the 127th day of the year. And again, it just reminds of 9/11, buildings 1, 2, and 7, Pearl Harbor, December 7th, 127. So I'm sure with the cyber polygon simulation, and there's going to be another cyber polygon simulation this year, July 9th, 2021. But, yeah, we shall see. Okay, so again, it's May 8th, and just to remind people, it's news by the numbers. A story about twins who had different symptoms from COVID on 8/5, twins 85, Kelly and Kimberly Standard, the Standard sisters, as they try to standardize humanity. They really have done it. I mean, the people we call sheep are the standardized people. They just let the news think for them, the authority. They just follow directions. They try not to get in trouble. They try to not get in debt. They try to have enough fun. These are their values. They're not too worried about the truth. They're not worried about all that conspiracy stuff. And they'll be the ones that might wake up when it's too late, but too late won't be good enough. But okay, also, Tawny Kitaen, 80s celebrity, sex symbol, dead at 59, and they mention how she was in the Tom Hanks comedy Bachelor Party in 1984. And notice from Tom Hanks' birthday back to the day she died, Friday, good day for a party, Bachelor Party. But 63 days before his birthday, and Bachelor Party 63 in the most pure cipher, like Friday. And the word bachelor in the most pure cipher alone is 37. 1984, when the movie came out, was 37 years ago. And her name, her entertainer name, Tawny Kitaen, equals 44 and 64. Fateful numbers, kill equals 44 and 64. Her name also equals 154. Ritual sacrifice is 154. And the news broke today, May 8th, that she died at age 59. It just reminds that where she died, Newport Beach, equals 58 and 59. She did die yesterday, May 7th, but again, the news broke today. And, of course, Freemasonry has that gematria of 58 and 59. The word Freemason in Jewish gematria is 307, which is the 63rd prime. Again, coming back to 63 days from Tom Hanks' birthday. And then the other thing I noticed is she died on a date with 53 numerology and 53 days before the anniversary of the release of the film, which is June 29th. 53 is a number associated with the feminine. I cover this in my first book. And then Rambo, he's made the argument in recent years that it's just more gender in general, which could be true. I actually agree with him. Because again, both gender and transgender in gematria equal 53. And again, in the most two standard ciphers, the simple, just the alphabetic order, A is 1 up to Z is 26, gender is 53, and then the most pure cipher, transgender, is 53. And you know what else? Transgender is also 64, and she had that in her name, and I just don't know anymore who is trans and who is not, but nothing would surprise me. I suppose it is possible. She has, I mean, it's just like you could make a woman who's a woman feel bad just saying like, well, like, this woman, she has a really large jaw to me. And now there are women in the world who have large jaws, but Again, there seems to be a disproportionate amount of those in celebrity. And yeah, anyway, I don't think it's a coincidence that she died 63 days from Tom Hanks' birthday. He's 64 right now. Yeah, I might have to go back and add. I think I'm going to add it in there because I'm going to explore it more. We'll add it with a question mark. All right, let's see. Be crazy to find out Tom Hanks is really a woman. Be like, what? Yeah, I just don't know, man. We live in an upside down and backwards world. I mean, but the reason I don't go deep down those avenues, but I do wonder, is because to me it's really hard to prove unless you can see in their underwear. And God, even if you could see in their underwear at this day and age, who knows? Who knows what surgeries they got out there for the celebs? Anyhow, lunar telescope could reveal the dark ages of the universe. When they go to the dark side of the moon, Pink Floyd better look out. They've only lost, well, they might have lost 2 members so far. Rick Wright died and Syd Barrett died, I think. But if you don't know Pink Floyd, one of their albums is Dark Side of the Moon. But anyway, CNN saved this story for May 8th, 5/8. It's about a lunar telescope. Lunar telescopes 58, like Freemasonry, like Rosicrucian, like Solomon's Temple, like secret society, like science. Again, at the Scottish Rite, House of the Temple in D.C., the Masonic headquarters, they have the shrine to NASA where they gloat about how nearly every astronaut has been a Freemason. And, of course, NASA was established in 58. Now, I did look, and I saw that some smaller news sources put out this story yesterday, May 7th. So the news looks like it first broke on 5/7, but you can understand why CNN, who does just about everything by the numbers, saved it for the next day, May 8th. But with regards to this being about putting a telescope on the moon, remember, moon is 57, big number with moon. And Scottish Rite also likes that 57. Remember, Scottish Rite's 57. Georgetown, the Jesuits in D.C., the first Jesuit university, 57, established in 1789, the year George Washington turned 57, and of course George is 57. Just yesterday on May 7th, all 4 officers with federal indictments from the government for the George Floyd death, George 57, like Gemini, again happened in time of Gemini, and you had that twin story today, and we're just days from the start of Gemini. I think we're 13 days from the start of Gemini. I think it starts May 20th. But yeah, it's just, again, the stuff that they put out is ritual. And again, just to remind people, for the people that like have made their belief systems about space and the moon and the sun and planets in the shape of the earth, if you've made that and you're just so definitive, you're 100% that way, you've essentially made it your religion. But just realize, I mean, a lot of the things that you're basing that off of are the little bits of information that are put out there by the controllers of this world. And again, it's hard to come to exact conclusions off of that. It's like, even though I do this every single day and I say it's undeniable, which it truly is, I still give the slightest chance that somehow it could all be a coincidence. I think that's very unlikely, but that's why I'm always challenging somebody to make the debate and make a proper debate and prove that it is all a coincidence. I don't think you're going to be able to do that, especially since we predicted so much correctly. But again, it's just like, and the difference between what I'm doing is I'm showing how the information they feed us, how they feed it to us by a code, how they contrive it by a code, how they use this contrived information to steer us every single day. Keep us arguing and divided over the things they want us to. But okay, there's that story. And then you got Elon Musk. Looks like he's going to be wearing a mask on Saturday Night Live. He's doing this on May 8th. Here's all the things that are interesting about 58. Well, not all, but some. Again, we're on the Gregorian calendar. Gregorian's 58. The word calendar is 58. The word zodiac is 58. The word star is 58. And remember, once upon a time, I didn't know reverse gematria, But when we just learned to run the alphabetic order in reverse, my mind was blown at first how when you just run it in reverse, stars is 58. I was like, wow, that is crazy. It's like that. And again, it all makes sense because remember, this whole practice of coding numbers into words comes from Kabbalah. Kabbalah's Book of Formation says God created the world with numbers, letters, and words. And when you start thinking about God, like gods are associated with what's going out, in the stars, the planets, the sun, the moon. Again, you start to look at all this and you realize this old world knowledge, you just start to see how it all comes together. They got the language synced up with the calendar, which is synced up with the zodiac. This is like what we're showing month after month. The easiest example we've always shown is the moon landing. The moon landing in the time of Cancer, when in astrology, Cancer's ruled by the moon, and Cancer's symbol looks like a 69, and the moon landing was in July of 1969 on July 20th. And of course, Neil Alden Armstrong equals 201, and that was the 201st day of the year, like the Jesuit order's 201. And again, the language and the calendar come from the Catholic Church. The Catholic Church has a lot to do with our understanding of the world and space, and the debate, is the earth the center, is the sun the center? Catholic Church worships the sun. The understanding of science now is that we revolve around the sun. And let me make sure I got the word right. I think it's heliocentrism. Yeah, it is. Even heliocentrism has the 201 in it too, which is really interesting. So I'm all for the debate of what we really live in, but just so many people have made it their religion and it's their one go-to thing. And again, it's just, there's better things to invest your time in. I'll just put it this way. Flat Earth didn't help people, save up some money in April off March Madness, the Kentucky Derby, and the Masters. But again, it has done it with Gematria. Again, this is the knowledge that pays dividends and answers questions in a big way. Now look at this. Remember, Gematria means geometry and language. And remember, the mathematical shorthand to get to pi is to divide 22 by 7. So if you write out 22 divided by 7 with the most simple cipher, it's 314, like pi is 3.14. And if you write out 360, the degrees in a circle, it's 227, like 22 divided by 7 is pi. Again, Gematria means geometry and language. This cannot be an accident. This cannot be an accident. These are numbers directly connected to pi, the thing you learn the most about in geometry class if you've ever taken it. And so here we are. He's on SNL, which has the Gematria 45, like geometry, which we've talked about a million times. But notice, 314 days after his birthday, like pi. And SNL is 45 and 36, like geometry's 45 and 36. He's the price of Dogecoin or Dogecoin, however you say it, 45 and 36, big in the focus today, and it made headlines while it was at 65 cents. Again, Knights Templar is 65. The Knights Templar are the original bankers. The Jesuits have the Templar cross in their logo. And remember what they did with Elon Musk earlier this year on January 7th, on the anniversary of the death of Nikola Tesla, the 78-year anniversary. On that day, he surpassed Jeff Bezos and became the richest man in the world. But notice Tesla's 78, and so is Jesuit. Jesuit's also 78. Tesla and Jesuit. On the 78-year anniversary of Nikola Tesla's death, January 7, 2021, it was reported he was the richest man in the world. This man's nothing but a puppet. If this guy is some genius building space rockets and electric cars, I mean, come on. And he still has time to go on Saturday Night Live? Just for me to keep up with the news cycle and do it, the work I do at the level we do it, which isn't genius enough, I don't have time I have no time. I'm just like grinding on this all the time. I just can't imagine a guy running a rocket company and a Tesla automobiles. I just can't imagine that he's got time to just go do Saturday Night Live. Anyway, isn't it strange that they're all the same numerical values, 45 and 36, and then the Jesuit acronym IHS for Jesus Hominum Salvator also has the 45 and 36, and of course Jesus Hominum Salvator is 266, like Pope Francis is the 266th Pope and the first Jesuit. But that Dogecoin, And we're noticing all the cryptos seem to have the Jesuit fingerprints all over them, which only makes too much sense, as we talked about at the start when we brought up Cardano, a breakoff from Ethereum that launched on the big Jesuit day, September 27th. Charles Hoskinson, the founder of the coin, born on Guy Fawkes Day, the big Jesuit day. Guy Fawkes, the anonymous mask is how you know his face. That's the Jesuits. But November 5th, the day leaving 56 days left in the year. And again, Cardano 56, like Society of Jesus. Again, JY found this one. But yeah, the Jesuit fingerprints everywhere in this crypto world. And by the way, with him being 49 right now and them doing this, it makes me think of Pythagoras. Pythagoras is who the Masons are very much, indebted to. A lot of tributes to Pythagoras in the Greeks within Masonry, and modern Freemasonry was created by the Jesuits, and the Greeks created the New Testament, which is the story of Jesus, and we're talking about the Society of Jesus of Rome, who essentially carried on what the Greeks ended, or essentially carried on what ended with the Greeks. But notice, Pythagoras has the Gematria 49. Musk is 49 right now. Pythagoras was big on math and what was called isopsophy, which was the Greek way of encoding numbers into words. The same thing as Gematria. But notice SNL is 9. Remember, SNL is also 45, and 45 is the ninth triangular number. If you study Pythagoras, he thought 9 was the most important number, the number that just symbolizes God. And, to some people, Elon Musk is like a living God. People that watch the TV a lot, worship the TV, believe everything they see on the TV, think the mainstream would never lie to them, think Elon Musk just be so amazing to pull off all this stuff and then even go tell jokes on SNL. And we'll see how that turns out. But again, the reality is these people are actors and they are fronts for the network, the organization that is really moving the world forward. Or in a certain, I shouldn't say forward. Forward is not the right word. Moving us in a direction that's not good for our well-being. It's the way we're being moved. But, and again, Elon Musk is selling people on the idea of, go out and do this crypto thing's exciting. There's a lot of money to be made here. You can get rich, which is true. But at the same time, if you get everybody used to the idea of electronic currency, that's exactly what big government wants, what big surveillance wants, what big tech wants. They just want it easier and easier to track every last thing about you. And when everything in the financial world is electronic, you can just imagine how easy it will be for all the computers to keep tabs on all of it. Just think about it just through like YouTube right now. Millions of people uploading videos. But because of the power of computers and AI, YouTube can stay on top of everything getting uploaded at all times and, single out things, delete channels, filter out information they don't want, just without missing a beat. They will pick up on things with people's accounts, money not claimed. When it comes time to pay taxes, it'll just be too easy. It'll be too easy. And I feel bad for all the people who think, well, then just follow all the rules and be obedient to government. The problem with all of you guys who think like that is because you guys are not seeing what's going on. Your government is dishonest and a killer and a monster and a war starter, and it doesn't seem to care about anything besides continual expansion and more control over its people and other people. To keep being obedient for government and, the mainstream, it's just, you got to be sound asleep. You're an American dreamer. Okay, just with regards to the Kabul news, again, it's right after Biden, says they're pulling the troops out. So now we get this story, and, Fox News today, I can just already imagine on Fox News, they'll be saying, oh, Democrats always weak on terror. Now look, the terrorists are already getting bold. And again, that's you see how it is. It's like the right wing is like about the military-industrial complex. The left wing's like pro-fascist government. It's Two wings of the same ugly bird. But anyway, today's got 34 date numerology. Murder in Kabul are 34, and that's pretty much what you have is murder in Kabul. And I know it's from Arturo Sosa. He's the superior general of the Jesuits. From his birthday to today is 177 days. And again, the Jesuit order and New World Order is 177. It's also 142 days after Pope Francis' birthday. Terrorist is 142, and then today can be written 8/5 like 85, and in the most simple cipher, Templars 85. And that's probably actually what the most important thing is, because we invaded Afghanistan October 7th, 2001, the day leaving 85 days left in the year. The Templars were the warriors of the Catholic Church. Again, the Jesuits have the Templar cross on their logo. And with regards to them saying a girls' school, for the extra emotional drama, girls' school's got that 56 in it, like Society of Jesus, who are going to have the Templar cross. But it is synced, apparently, with the superior general. The Jesuits consider themselves a military order. That's why their leader is the superior general and the Pope. And yeah, just, more stuff to agitate the people of the world. It seems like that's what the Jesuits see themselves as. The ones who maintain the instigation between the Abrahamic religions and people of the world. And then again, yesterday on May 7th, 5/7, they said at least 205 people were injured in Jerusalem when Israeli police attacked Palestinians at Al-Aqsa Mosque, so essentially Jews on Muslims. And again, Israel 205, like all-seeing eye. But this happened on May 7th. Date that can be written 5/7, like 57. And of course, Jews is 57. So is the word moon. And remember, the Hebrew calendar is in sync with the moon. That's why every 19 years the holy days fall on the same day. But it's also, I think I brought this up earlier in the day, the same day before this happened. This headline right here from the New York Times, controlled by the Jesuits. New York Times is 177, by the way. New World Order pledged to Jews. This was October 6, 1940. A date with 75 numerology. New World Order 75, like order out of chaos, like order, like Catholic Church. And again, May 7th, this happens. 7/5 at one of the world's most holy sites. And again, it's 21. It said, watch out for those rituals with war this year. Because again, think about this. War's 21. Jesuits 21. Armies 21. Evil's 21. Syncing it up with the moon. Moon's 21. Lunar's 21. So... also on May 26th will be the election in Syria. Syria, big story for many years now. By the way, May 7th, 21 was a date with 33 numerology. Of course, police is 33. Big number with masonry, which is big in Israel. It's also a date with 53 numerology, and religion's 53. But, oh, yeah, and then just what was the main headline while that was going on is 6 countries around India are seeing cases skyrocket as the virus puts pressure on their health systems. Remember, we said this was predictable. With India with the big surge, all the major countries around it, their cases will go up. And then they're building this narrative of how not enough people trust the vaccine, so it could be a nightmare by the fall because they think this fall we're going to have COVID plus the flu, and it could be twice as deadly. I'll remind people, again, depopulation is a real agenda of the elites. And again, so far it's like they got us living in fear. But if they plan to stretch this out and keep people living in fear and tank the currency and our way of life and our rights, I mean... the way these people operate, they're psychopaths. They do things on a time schedule. It might not be time yet for the vast reduction. I imagine at some point that's coming. That could still be a ways off. But at the same time, we don't know what time schedule they're on. I've said for years I'm worried about the year 2024, 44 years after the establishment of the Georgia Guidestones, because Georgia's 44 in genocide and kill and military. And 2024 isn't that far away. I mean, it's less than 3 years away. But again, these people definitely want to get rid of people. We are not as useful to them as we once were. They got the AI, they got the robots, and again, they don't need as many slaves. We are clutter. We're like old toys to these people. Anyway, the point I'm trying to say is that's why people need to wake up and speak out and just try to find whoever in their community gets it until we find that person that's out there. That's what I can say right now. It's like if enough people just start speaking up and finding their courage, we will find the people that are not here yet that can help us take it to the next level. And that's what needs to happen. And as I'm talking, I hear Sweet Lady just got home from work. So I am going to speed this up. Sweet Lady was just only supposed to be gone for an hour for training today, but then they asked her if she could stay all day and work, so she's probably hungry. But anyhow, Obama's dog died today. Today's the 8th. Bo equals 8 in the most pure cipher. But here's the thing that's gross. From Obama's 59th birthday to today is 277 days later, which is the 59th prime number. And remember, his Secret Service name, Renegade's 59, number stamped all over Black history, Negro, Slave, Blues, Rasta, they're all 59. Remember what they did with Kamala? They picked her 1 week after his 59th birthday on August 11th, 2020, a date with 59 numerology, 59 weeks after the first Democratic debate. And it was on Trump's 59th day of his age. There might have been one more 59 in there that I'm forgetting, but it was for the 59th presidential election, won by Obama's vice president, while Obama's 59 again, but now he loses his dog 277 days after the birthday, the 59th prime. And I saw somebody left a comment, I think it was Neo the Hacker. Yeah, he's right. Bo also equals 37 in the base ciphers, which is the 12th prime number, and he's dead at age 12. Again, they got him right after they moved into the White House. So, sad to think that they're even doing this with dogs. Was that a hiccup? My Sweet Lady got a hiccup. Anyway, I never heard her with the hiccups before. She probably ate some food at work that she doesn't normally eat. Maybe she ate something. Anyway, the genetically modified mosquitoes that Bill Gates had the mosquito week for, they laid the eggs at the end of April, and now they're hatching. And again, they say the number that they put there was 144,000, a biblical number, a number connecting back to the Jesuit order when the whole mosquito week was a big Jesuit ritual as we covered then. And notice this mainstream article was put out on April 27th, the 117th day of the year, about the mosquitoes, which equal 117. And again, if you've never seen Bill Gates' Mosquito Week, you know what? I bet that video hasn't been taken down. Here, let's just go back and watch that again in case you never saw this. Okay, Bill Gates' Mosquito Week. Yeah, there's a lot to this, but these are screenshots from the video, but I'm pretty sure I got a link to the video. Here we go. I mean, again, this is the same guy who did the 2010 TED Talk about why we need to reduce population. Then he's got the Grim Reaper Mosquito Week video. And, yeah, they're doing this in Florida. It's got that Gematria like Grim Reaper. Florida and pandemic have a lot in common. Mosquito Week with all the same old numbers. But, yeah. It's officially live. I thought that they said they unleashed some last year, but they're saying this was the first of it, so we live in 1984 world. The information's always changing. Okay, and then, yeah, again, just all the hints being left right now. CNN has an article today about the coming crisis because of all the shortages due to all the. They point out that a lot of things that we get are like a year behind in terms of development. And a year ago at this time, because of all the shutdowns from COVID, there's gaps in the supply that should be there that normally would be there. So there's going to be some problems in the consumer market. And again, just a lot of different things happening right now that are all part of one big ugly puzzle that was foretold, per se, on the Economist cover 1988. Get ready for a one world currency. Again, they got to shake things up in the world to get us where they want us to be. Under one system where they will really have truly surveillance over the world. I mean, you can imagine how it can be achieved by what they're already doing. Computers. Isn't it interesting how in Sumerian gematria, computer 666, and it's essentially what makes everything possible now with the tracking and the surveillance and, these vaccine passports. But yeah, just in case you missed this yesterday, the CDC finally confirmed that coronavirus spreads through the air. This was yesterday on the 53-date numerology, airs 53 like COVID. And then big no-hitter yesterday in baseball out of Cincinnati after Rambo did a decode on the city of Cincinnati. Funny how that worked out. But again, always 46 with the no-hitters. Reds equals 46. Cincinnati Red throws the no-hitter. No-hitter 46. Again, the first no-hitter this season was by the 46th draft pick. The second was by Chicago, which equals 46. And the third was by a pitcher whose name equals 46, who was drafted in the 46th round and who threw 46 innings for the whole season when he completed his 9-inning no-hitter. But this latest on May 7th can be written 7-5, Wade 75 like Wade Allen Miley 75. The date can also be written 5-7 like 57, World Series 57. This year's the 117th World Series. This happened in a game between two Ohio teams, which is 117. And again, from Miley's birthday to the no-hitter was 175 days. Pope Francis is 175. And from Pope Francis' birthday to the no-hitter was 141 days, like Wade Allen Miley. And again, Cincinnati is where one of the nation's 27 Jesuit universities is. Pope Francis is the first Jesuit pope. Many rituals over the years synced perfectly with Pope Francis. And no-hitters are a big deal. There's 4 already this season, which is just because things are getting stupider by the year. But typically a no-hitter is something that happens once or twice a year. There's already been, we'll see how many they have this year. Be something that there's like 46 no-hitters in the season when there's hardly any in a normal year. But at the rate is, I don't think there's going to be 46. It's just too many. But I'm sure by the season's end, the joke will be revealed. But yeah, it's something else. And we've been talking about the year of sevens. Yesterday on May 7th, the Lakers fell to the 7th seed, the defending champions. The media's going, oh my God, not looking good for the Lakers. 7th seed. Everything's just 7 this year. It happens on the 7th of the month. There's a few more things to that too. We're going to talk about it on Patreon. And then also today, 4 dead, 1 injured in a Baltimore shooting. And again, Gematria, based on the alphabetic order forwards and backwards. Baltimore with the most Pierce ciphers, 41, like 4 dead. Hold on, let's get it one more time. 4 dead, 1 injured, like 41. And then today's May 8th, 5-8. I was just talking about Baltimore the other day and how they love those numbers in baseball for the team. There it is in a news story, 24 to 48 hours after I said that. And I mean, we've been saying the same thing forever. Same thing forever. So it's news by the numbers all day, every day. And CNN puts out an article about what we know about the coronavirus variants. If you want to stay up on the latest propaganda. All right, we'll leave it there. I'm going to go give Sweet Lady some attention. Hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Appreciate all your support. And until next time, Truth Seeker.